Are you wondering if you can actually change the lens on any of these Sony ZV-1 cameras? So, well, I got some bad news for you. On none of these three models you can actually change the lens, and they are fixed in place basically, and there's really nothing to change here. So if you have the ZV-1F, which only has one focal lens, well, yeah, then you're out of luck basically, as you'll have to zoom in or out with your feet by basically going further or closer basically. But on the ZV-1 Mark 1, which I have here, you actually get insanely good lens, which is actually better than on the Mark II, the newest model. So on this ZV-1 original one, you do get 24 to 70 millimeter lens, and check out the aperture with 1.8 to 2.8. so even at 70 millimeters you still get 2.8 aperture basically. On the ZV-1 the lens is more wide basically, so maybe if you want to film yourself while you're logging, maybe for that the camera is better, because you obviously get that lens there which is more wide and up close to you, but really it's not as long basically, and I think it maxes out at around 50 millimeters on the ZV-1 Mark II, so this is actually much better lens. Also on the Mark II ZV-1 the aperture is worse at the higher end basically, so I think it's f4, maybe a bit wrong, but it's definitely way worse than this lens. So if you want the best lens on the best camera, really get the ZV-1 Mark 1, not the updated number 2. Also, actually, the main reason why I even purchased this camera over maybe the APS-C cameras where you can actually take off the lens and change for another one is because literally it has such a great lens on it. And if I wanted to purchase, for example, maybe the cheapest for example ZV-E10, that maybe costs around $600, but you need to spend at least another $400 or $500 on just a good lens as well. So that setup will basically cost you like $1,000. However, I picked this ZV-1 Mark 1 for only 240 euros or $250 basically, and you do get really nice lens on this one. Again, similar setup, just on the interchangeable lens cameras would cost you way more than on these cameras. And really that f2.8 at the 70 millimeters on this camera is still very good. At that focal length you do get really good compression, and you do get extra bokeh basically when you shoot at that range, so it's still very good at f2.8. So let's check out the f number. So I'm at 24 millimeters right now, so as wide as possible. By the way, the 24 millimeters in APS-C for sense is around 16 millimeters, since this has crop factor compared to the APS-C. So in reality it's actually like 16 millimeter lens when you compare to decent APS-C sized sensor. So at the wide end you get f1.8. when you start zooming, as you can see, even a bit. So at 29 millimeters at the already at f2.5, so it kind of decreases very fast, and yeah, at around maybe 30 millimeters, so yeah, it starts to get at f2.8, but then as we zoom in closer it still stays the same f2.8. Also on these cameras you do get clear image zoom as well, so if you want to basically zoom in even faster, then you can actually use this. So as you can see, when I enable this, I can magnify this like literally 2 times. So in reality it becomes like 140 millimeter lens, maybe like 100 millimeter lens when you compare to the APS-C cameras basically. So you can see just kind of versatility you get. By the way, this clear image zoom, it basically zooms in without any loss of quality basically, and this is really good on the Sony. I have no idea how they can accomplish this, but basically the quality is superbly nice on these cameras, even when you use that clear image zoom. So again, at least on the ZV-1 Mark 1 you do get insanely nice lens. So if you're worried that like on the ZV-1 Mark 2 or the ZV-1F the lens isn't for you really, then maybe really get the older ZV-1, because that lens is insanely good on it and there's really no need to even change it, the lens on these cameras, because it's insanely good. Anyway, good luck.